Hi everyone, welcome back to Good Neighbors Getting It Done in Western New York. I'm Kathleen King. I'm putting up two different videos. One is of Aaron Gies, who is running for congressman in the New York 23rd, and one is of Kevin Stalker, who is doing the same, running for congressman in the New York 23rd. I sat down with both of these gentlemen to do an in-person interview. The purpose really was just so that more people within the district could get a sense of who they are. They are not hard-hitting interviews. I wanted it to be pretty broad, pretty open, let them introduce themselves and give you a sense of how they think, what they're thinking about, maybe a little bit of their personality and their drive. Aaron Gies was interviewed on August 7th and Kevin Stalker was interviewed on August 18th. So there's a little bit more at the end regarding what was currently happening at the time. A lot happens in a week in between, so there's a little bit of a difference, but I tried very much to keep it to the same general questions, the same general format, so that you really could assess a bit of who these gentlemen are. If there's a good response to it and you would like me later in the campaign to ask them to do another kind of sit-down interview, perhaps I will be able to, and be a little bit more in-depth about particular issues if they come up. Well, I hope you enjoy it. It's the same introduction for both candidates because I tried to be as non-biased as I could be. Thank you. Hi, welcome back. I'm Kathleen King with Good Neighbors Getting It Done, and today I'm with Kevin Stalker, who is running for Congress on the 23rd.
Good morning.
Morning. So it's, just trying to get a feel for who you are, put you out to more people across the 23rd.
Well, I appreciate you coming all this way, and quite a journey in dodging traffic and construction on the roads, and it's a lot of effort.
Well, yeah, it's easier than going to Owego, isn't it?
Owego was a drive. We're going back there again too. But yeah, I think that was 3 hours.
Yeah,
right?
it is a drive out there. I have a brother that lives in Owego.
Okay.
So let's just start with, why are you in the race? Why did you decide to run? What do you?
I had an interview with NPR recently, and they brought up the same question, and I said, I no longer recognize the country that I was born in, educated in, the values I was taught. We're in a war with billionaires that want their tax breaks, and at the same time they want to cut food stamps to the poor, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, the rights of women, or see what's going on down south where they want to discourage and make it harder for people of color and women to vote.
Mm-hmm.
This is not how I was raised. So taking on, this is a David versus Goliath race. Elon Musk is going to he's pledged $500 million into the race to help Republicans get elected.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be a large, daunting task, but I've taken on large tasks before and we've been successful. I've had taken on Nick Langworthy before, and I like to refer to him as a coward that doesn't want to face his constituents and explain to them eyeball to eyeball why he's giving tax breaks to billionaires and then cutting veterans benefits, public education, rural hospital funding, again, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. Show up. I invite him to my town halls, have his own town hall, but he's afraid to do it.
Yeah. So, well, let me, if you had a slogan, what would you, or if you had like one broad idea of what you would like to tell people, what exactly you are working toward, fighting for, how do you view
bigger issue, the big problem for, there's so many,
Yes.
right? You know, so.
I think
like,
we have to turn the ship 180 degrees. I think we have to do everything the opposite.
Mhm.
I mean, it's frightening, the destruction that's going on for hardworking families. I mean, this is a direct assault on everything in order to favor less than 1% of our country. And the slogan, you know, somebody kind of suggested, and at first I thought it was kind of not important, but they said, you need a theme song.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't have time for a theme song.
I know
but I gave
yeah.
it some thought.
Yeah.
And you know, music and theme songs kind of give a spirit. And I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan.
Okay.
So at some of the town halls, I will tap in and I say, we have a task, and the task is to rise up.
Okay.
And it's to fight. And there's a song, one of my favorites is No Retreat, Never Surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is going to be the mood of our campaign, is to rise up, to fight, pick up a sword, and go into battle. And not be afraid of that ugly 32% and less that is getting smaller
Yeah.
with time. But they are a loud group. And I do believe there will be threats, there will be violence, and you're going to have the courage to stand up and address it and take it head on. And going back to the first question, it's a fight worth having. You know, democracy's at stake. The Constitution's at stake. People that don't have the resources to fight on their own behalf, to fight on their behalf. These are such important issues. Our future trading partners. But all the things, the cuts that I just mentioned earlier, and helping those that rely on those.
I do remember from, I had met you in Hamburg,
Right.
and that you had mentioned, I think that your kids went to Catholic school and that you're Catholic.
Right.
So I wanted you to talk a little bit about that in terms of how does that direct you, and in particular, you know, the abortion issue, because that always comes up with people of faith, you know.
Sure, it's always important. I respect all people's religious values. I don't necessarily think there's a correct religion. There's so many different religions. I think I've heard thousands. And I respect people's faith. But I also want to empower women and have the ability to choose their direction in life. We mentioned earlier about the southern states redistricting and make it harder for them to vote. And I see them attacking diversity issues. It's almost like the other side wants to make them second-class citizens. So I was listening to a woman speak one night when I was driving, and her husband died in a car accident, and she had 3 children, and she was pregnant, and I can't remember the condition she had. The doctor had a name for it, and it was something that I had never heard of before. But the doctor said, if you choose to have the baby, you have a 50% chance of dying if you continue the pregnancy. I want women like that to consult their doctor and decide what's best for their family. And in that case, the other children. Those are tough issues. But I don't think it's a place for somebody like me to inflict my values onto somebody like her. So I respect everybody's values, but I want women to have that choice.
Okay. And I know for me, one of the things that really bothers me about the administration is really the lack of morality. Like,
It's
I'm
frightening.
So I guess I just wanted you to speak to that a little bit in terms of, what you think, how important that is, how you think that, might also drive you? I mean, obviously you've talked about we need to take care of the poor and the sick and those kinds of things, and that's a moral dilemma right there. But if you could talk a little bit
Sure.
about that.
At least how I was raised.
Mhm.
I'm an old school value person. A handshake and a word is worth more than a contract. I believe in courtesy and respect. If you show me disrespect, you're going to see another side of me.
Mhm.
Again,
Yeah.
old-fashioned values.
Yeah.
I want to see our country get back to civility and decency and telling the truth. Right now, I just don't see that happening. The current president, again, Nick Langworthy, recruited him, mentored him, and is totally beholden to him. He wants the Epstein files covered up, which I would take the opposite position. I think anybody, I don't care if they're Democrat, Republican, or a billionaire, whoever's in there should be at least prosecuted, and if the statute of limitations have gone by and they don't have jurisdiction, at least publicly humiliated
Mhm.
for what they've done to children.
Mhm.
And the same thing applies, I've been involved in litigation against the Catholic Church,
Okay. I didn't know
and
that.
decades of abuse that was covered up.
Mhm.
I watched 4 bishops go on TV
Mhm.
and lie to Western New York. I know what's going on
Mhm.
behind the scenes because I've been active in it. It's heartbreaking to watch. It's heartbreaking when clients come in here. I remember one gentleman told me he was 76 and his wife said, "Why are you up so early this morning?" He says, "I'm going to go see an attorney." And she said, "Why, are you divorcing me?" And he chuckled. It was the first time in all the years they were married that he told her what happened when he was 14 years old. And the weight on his shoulders and the sadness. They're heartbreaking cases. And when you hear about the decades of cover-up and transferring pedophile priests from one parish to another and let them victimize other families. Again, very hard cases. Some people have to stand up and say this is wrong.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that are wrong in the world right now and in our country. And like I said earlier, you gotta rise up, no retreat, never surrender, and fight for values.
Okay. So you see that as a parallel to what's happening in our political spectrum in terms of Epstein and just, general
Whether
morality.
just simple things like telling the truth.
Yeah.
I see somebody, the current president, every time he opens his mouth, it's one lie after another. We got to go back to, I remember Gary Hart was disqualified
Mhm.
as a candidate for president to run because he was having an affair. Now we have somebody, that's all he does is betray his wives and children. We got to go back to, what I thought decency was. Being faithful in your marriage, working hard, doing the best you can at work, trying to overcome life's adversities, helping your children
Telling the truth.
to
Yeah.
be a decent role model.
Yeah.
It's the simple things.
Yeah.
And I think that cuts across all religions.
Yeah.
The values are pretty much the same in all religions. There are some differences, but it's basically be a good person, help those in need, and that's how I was raised.
So we're going to switch topics completely here. You
Sure.
did mention the gerrymandering issue. So
Right.
that's come up again. It's come up in a big way now that Governor Newsom has put out his statements, and I'm just wondering what you think the response should be. What do you just what do you think about it?
Well, I see Texas actively engaging in breaking the law in order to
Mm-hmm.
address the midterms. They know when you betray hardworking families and give tax breaks to billionaires, there's going to be a price to pay for that, and it's coming. Whether I agree with running from Texas and fleeing to other states to hide, I'm a fighter. And I think you stand in your ground and you fight. You don't run. So that rubs me the wrong way. I've seen Governor Newsom talk about breaking the law himself. That I understand the strategy. I just don't like the message that's being sent, because you're saying breaking the law is okay. I would prefer what I'm doing here. I'm going in a red district as a Democrat, and I'm going to talk to them why it is important to make this district blue for them, their families, and their communities. And we're going to talk about Social Security being important, and not to cut it, but I don't think it's enough myself. I see the cost of groceries. I see the cost of rent, taxes, gasoline. Having dignity as we get older. I've been to nursing homes recently, and I'm mortified at the poor quality of food, the lack of cleanliness, the lack of physical therapy. That area needs to be addressed. But I do believe, and Governor Hochul's an example. There's a person that went in a red district and won. She proved it can be done. It's why I'm traveling the district, having all these town halls.
Right.
One, I like to pay my respect, listen to their concerns. They get my home phone number. I tell them, you're going to be my boss. You tell me what you want me to fight for. But I think going forward, we're all on the same page. I'm looking forward to reach out to the Republicans and independents and say, this is why it's important. We need to go this direction, not the direction currently going in. With the tariffs, we are going to face a recession. We don't have to go too far back in history to see Herbert Hoover tried this during the Great Depression. It's a disaster.
Yes.
We understand when you jack up prices that American consumers going to pull back. This is going to lead us right into a recession. Goldman Sachs is already predicting a recession's coming. So when you alienate trading partners, when you disrespect Canada, Europe, you're playing right into the hands of China. Every great empire has ended at some point in time. Whether it was the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire. We saw England's decline after World War II. I believe the direction we're currently going on will make America decline, will play into the hands of China. Now, I believe if we turn the ship, we can pull out. But every empire ends. It doesn't last forever. And we have to pursue our values. We have to fight for hardworking families, help those less fortunate. And I want people that are financially very successful. I'm not jealous of them. I'm happy they're successful. I just want them to pay their fair share.
Right.
And they don't.
Okay. So if, you're talking about turning it around, when you get to Congress, what would be the first thing that you would think that this is, the crux of the most important thing that we need to work on? I'm not saying you're going to pass the bill, but like, what would what would be your main issue that you would like to then bounce off of?
I have never thought I'd see the destruction of the values of this country happen so fast. When you have a Supreme Court Justice, Justice Roberts, talk about we're in a constitutional crisis. When you see somebody, the president, won't follow court orders, won't follow the law, wants to replace generals that are loyal to him and not the Constitution. When you see cuts to Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, Veterans Benefits, women's rights, where do you start?
But you do have to start someplace.
I keep saying you turn the ship the opposite direction. You have to do everything because so many things are so important, whether it's public education, healthcare. So many things are being torn apart. I don't know if there's one particular one that you'd say is more. They're all so important.
Okay.
The Constitution's important. Democracy's important. When you see the president go to a campaign rally and tell his audience, you'll never have to vote for a president again.
It's pretty scary.
That's alarming.
Yes.
Like, what is he talking about?
This is what he was talking
He's got an agenda.
Yeah.
So, picking up the sword, charging into battle, turning the ship 180 degrees, reclaiming what our country stands for, not disrespecting our allies, not disrespecting people of color that are trying to get ahead in life and provide for their families. We have a current labor shortage in this country. You don't discourage people from trying to support their families that are trying to help our country keep the cost of groceries down. Wherever I go, people are upset at the cost of living. And the direction we're currently going on is going to escalate that even harder, higher, I should say. So it's taking the opposite approach of the current trajectory we're on.
I'm going to throw one more thing at you because this
Sure.
just happened. The meeting in Russia, Trump and Putin, and now Zelensky's coming with an entourage from
Right.
Europe. Have any thoughts on it? I mean, since it just happened, and I realize I'm probably being a little unfair, but
No, you're not being unfair. We've been watching this behavior for a while. And I tell people, do not listen to elected people or a lot of people of what they say. Follow the money. The money answers all the questions. So if the behavior looks unusual, such as the relationship with our current president in Russia, follow the money behind the scenes. And it will answer why he's acting that way. I'm a big proponent in world peace. I think there's a lot of people that would agree with me. We made a promise to Ukraine that if they turned over their nuclear weapons, that we would protect them. I'm a believer that NATO has helped prevent World War III. We see what's going on in Israel and Gaza, another area that we need to devote substantial resources to bring world peace. I do not want this country to get into another meaningless war that sacrifices men and women's lives. Usually these wars are to benefit the wealthy that profit off the war complex. We need to get back to the old-fashioned values of diplomacy, getting back to the table, and figuring out how to get to, and it won't happen, as he says, day one. There's too many agendas, but we have to address Russia's aggression. We have to address what's going on in Israel and Gaza, and we have to bring world peace for everybody's sake. And we cannot let people starve and be victims of war, whether it's death or injuries. We have to commit as many resources as this country has collectively, going back with our allies, which we're alienating, we're disrespecting. That is the wrong approach, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
I think this was, very helpful for the voters in the 23rd, just to try to get the word out as much as possible. So
Well,
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming. Great seeing you.
Good to see you too. Thanks.